Hello and welcome to another episode of Nothing Definitive. I'm Sam Carlson, and today I want to talk about um, my personal weaknesses, jealousy and superiority. Okay, so um, through self reflection, I have slowly over time picked out all sorts of flaws or weaknesses in who I am and attempted to fix them. And the two that I've had the most difficulty with, or maybe one that I have the most difficulty with, and one that was really profound in a lot of respects, was jealousy and a superiority complex. And I'm going to start with jealousy because this is the one that I feel like I've really successfully resolved. I don't know if I've resolved it completely, but I've made a lot of progress with it. Uh, um, okay, so I found when I was younger, I was very jealous of other people's successes, but I didn't realize that's what it was. Whenever I saw other people do things like projects or cool, like say someone made a really cool YouTube video or had a really awesome idea or something, I often found it very difficult for me to accept that they had done something really cool or feel good for them. And I always chalked it off to, I would just justify it and say, like, well, it really wasn't that cool of an idea or something, even if it really was. And it wasn't until college that I really started to realize what that was, and it was jealousy. And when I started to really take control of my life and my actions and things like that, I started to feel a lot happier with myself, a lot more in control, a lot more successful. And at some point, I don't remember when it was, but at some point there was just like a switch had been flipped, and all of a sudden it became so clear that I started feeling better for myself, and I started to notice that I felt more supportive and more happy for other people too. Um, and that's when I realized I previously, for like so many years of my life, was just jealous of people. I was just jealous of other people's success because when I saw it, it reflected poorly on me. Like I would recognize their success and go, I haven't achieved that, and it makes me feel bad about myself. That's what it was. It really, and that was such a profound moment because it made me realize how flawed I could be as a person. Because I think there is this very, we're so defensive internally. We seem really hard on ourselves, but we're also very defensive. Like we don't want to be wrong. We don't want to be trivialized. We don't want to be bad or unsuccessful and stuff. But a lot of times, I mean, frankly, we are in a lot of respects. We're not perfect people, and I think that's one of the big steps towards enlightenment is just this acceptance that I'm not perfect. I'm full of flaws and full of weaknesses, but guess what? I'm going to take control and try to fix it. Try and make myself better. Um, so if you find yourself like feeling very negative a lot of times for other people towards their successes and things like that, suspect that it might be jealousy. And that if you simply start to really take control of your life and do the things that make you a better person, that can just go away. And that's what I've noticed over the last few years now is that I feel so happy for other people. Even though I haven't really achieved that much in life, I haven't really done anything noteworthy. But the fact that I just feel in control, I try and stick to a routine and I meditate and I exercise and I pursue productive enterprises. I just feel better about myself and better for other people because of it. Um, so yeah, that was one really really big weakness, flaw in who I was that I recognized and resolved through self-reflection and meditation and things like that. So that's the first one. And the second one is one that's ongoing, and it's one I struggle with all the time. And this is this like sense of superiority I feel from, and I think it's a result really of enlightenment or intellectualism and reflecting and stuff like that. It's kind of like this. You become more of a humble and calm and happy person through a lot of these measures, but I think one of the consequences of it is this sense of superiority. Like you feel Like I've spent so much time learning and figuring out who I am and how I fit in the world and stuff that you start to really raise yourself up on a pedestal in a way. Like, I am starting to feel so much smarter and so much more powerful than the people around me. I observe my friends and random strangers, and they seem so weak compared to all the progress that I've made. And it really breeds this superiority complex, arrogance, whatever you want to call it. And that's one that I fight with all the time. I always try, like, I always try and recognize it, and that is such a huge thing with enlightenment. Is just like I said, recognizing your weaknesses. You gotta try and root them out and analyze your behavior and figure out, uh, you know, what is it about me that is still really negative. And you get better and better at this, and I can notice it really quickly now. Like I spend a lot of my days when I interact with other people and think my thoughts and stuff. Uh, as I'm thinking them or as I'm doing things, I'm also analyzing them like side by side and trying to pick out problems and things like that. And you can this can become a skill eventually. You can become really good at it. And I think I am becoming a lot better. So I'm starting to recognize a lot more like take a step back. You're being you're being an asshole, frankly, because you're trying to assert your I don't know, your thoughts and opinions on other people or something. And it's tough. It really, really is, because there's a lot of instances where you are talking with someone and they might have like what you consider flawed logic or something like that. And you just feel compelled to tell them. I mean, we see this in social networking a lot, right? Like you go on something like Reddit and there's just so many people out there that feel so compelled to share their opinion or tell someone else why they're wrong. And I don't know. I wonder what that is. I guess it's just a superiority complex, or I guess I would imagine. But it's not a good thing. Personally, I don't think it's a good thing, because a lot of people just need to figure it out on their own. So much of enlightenment is just, it's such a personal journey because it differs from person to person. And so many of the lessons you can only take away if you have knowledge of previous lessons. And it's so complex. You gotta really figure it out on your own. So really telling people off and being like, you shouldn't think that way. That's not rational. That's not logical. That's just bad thinking. Is really ultimately useless unless they figure it out on their own. So yeah, so I just wanted to share the couple of my weaknesses, things that I've been working to resolve and try and make myself a better person. And they're difficult, you know. They're things that you got to work for towards every single day. So, yeah, that basically covers everything that I wanted to talk about. So thank you very much for listening, and just got a text message. Yeah, so thank you very much for listening, and see you next time.